TKO Boxing with Sherry Abbasi, and today I'm joined by another special guest from across the pond, super lightweight prospect Joey Abudy. Joey, first of all, thank you for giving me a bit of your time today, bro. Welcome to the podcast. How are you keeping?
I'm doing good. Just finished with a nice sparring session today. Feeling good, feeling ready for this upcoming tournament. I'm pumped up, excited, and just like ready to go.
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, congratulations to you for being selected for the Grand Prix in Riyadh, the first ever tournament of its kind. I think that must
Yeah.
be a massive motivating factor for you moving forward. Now, what was the process for you getting selected, Joe? You can tell me a bit about that.
I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw on Supreme Boxing that they were accepting applications or something. I saw it and I was like, I need to hop on that right now. I need to get in that tournament. I need to win that tournament. Like that, for me, I just think this whole tournament in general is going to be big. It's revolutionary for boxing. It's exactly what boxing needs, and for me to be a part of this is like just huge. So I just sent out the application. They got back to me, and we've gone back and forth like 2 or 3 times with like contracts and stuff. And I'm happy to say that I got selected.
Yeah, amazing. And like you said, it's the first tournament of its kind, and it's taking place in Riyadh, which right now is, putting on the biggest and best fights essentially. So it's a massive opportunity for all the prospects that are looking to get some sort of shine and sort of get the name out there to the boxing world. So it's a big opportunity. I'm sure you're taking it very seriously.
Yeah. This is for me like this is everything I've been working for since I've started boxing.
In terms of your journey itself, Joey, talk to me a bit about your background in terms of boxing. Did you start boxing at a young age? Do you have an amateur background? Tell me how you got into boxing.
I have a good amateur background. I didn't start boxing until I was 17. You know, like I grew up playing a lot of sports. Just with the area I lived in, it was like I don't come from a boxing family, and like not many people box from like the area I grew up in. So I wasn't really exposed to boxing like that. I didn't even know like who Mayweather and Pacquiao were before their first fight,
Wow.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think my junior year in high school was like just one year I just was not doing any athletic activity or anything. I was really into anime back in high school. I came across this boxing anime. I thought that was really cool. I started doing my own little workouts, watching YouTube videos. I came across this YouTube channel called Fight Tips, was like doing that stuff. And that YouTuber, Shane, trained at the gym that I train at now, Sweet Science. That happened to be a local gym. So I went there, and the rest is history. Like from 2017 to now, I've been here with Sweet Science, a great gym, great stable of fighters. And I have maybe like 50, 60 amateur fights. I won local Golden Gloves twice, went to national tournaments. I won national tournaments. When I finished my amateur career, I was, I think, ranked number two. Yeah, ranked number two in the country at 147 for the elite men in USA, which was like big. And I won the WBC amateur belt. Like they have the WBC holding amateur shows in California, and I won the elite amateur belt there too. So good amateur background. Won like a handful of tournaments, won like nationals, and yeah.
Yeah, you've done pretty well then, considering you haven't been boxing for a long time necessarily. Like you said, you started at 17.
Yeah,
So, and you're 25 now then?
I'm gonna be turning 25 at the end of June.
Cool. So yeah, so you've actually done quite a lot in the last 7 or 8 years then in terms of giving it a good go in boxing. So that's very impressive. Hats off to you. Um, Apart from obviously the fact that you got into it in maybe an unorthodox way, shall we say, or a less common way than a lot of the other kids that come through in boxing these days. What is it about the sport that's made you fall in love with it and made you commit your life to it, essentially?
Um, you know, I always say this. I feel like this is something I was just born to do. Like from I think like maybe some of the first words I would say like as a kid was "let's fight." I had my little toy swords. I'd always want to play fight with my mom and parents like with the toy swords. I just loved that. And even though I wasn't really exposed to boxing or anything as a kid, growing up I always felt like like some type of intrigue and pull toward it. I watched I think the Rocky movies in middle school,
Mm.
and I fell in love with those movies. I'd go run around the house shadow boxing, but not much came out of it until I was in high school, you know, going through some stuff. And yeah, going through some stuff and just like had nothing going on, to the point where I'm like, no, I need to like, I watched that anime that inspired me like on some Rocky level stuff. And from there, I really decided to look for something and to see how to get into it.
Yeah. And the anime that you watched, what was it called?
The anime was called Hajime no Ippo.
What's the translation in English?
That there is no translation in English.
Oh,
It's
okay,
just
okay.
Hajime no Ippo. Yeah,
Is it specifically boxing related? Yeah.
yeah. It's pretty realistic. It's like the main character. His style is like based off Mike Tyson and Jack Dempsey,
Okay.
and they've got like cool characters with like different styles, and it gets pretty deep. It's cool.
Okay, now fair enough. I mean, when I was younger, the only anime I watched religiously was Dragon Ball Z, which obviously that's a
Oh,
mainstream one that a lot of people know. But I watched that nonstop as a kid. I'm a bit older than you. I'm 31, so I've got a few years ahead of you, sort of thing. But as a kid, Dragon Ball Z religiously all the time on TV, and a bit of
yeah,
I think One Piece. I watched a bit of that when I was a kid. So I don't know if
yeah,
that counts as an anime, but yeah, One Piece. So yeah, I quite like all that as well. But it's interesting to hear how a, a cartoon has got you into the sport, which is amazing. And the Rocky films, it's like a rite of passage when it comes to boxing. Most fighters and fans will have watched the Rocky films because they just, you know, they are special movies when it comes to boxing. So it's great to hear that you've got a very different story. In terms of modern day boxing, Joey, who do you look at today? Do you watch the sport as a fan, or do you only train and fight yourself, or have you got any fighters that you look at right now and sort of follow religiously and are a fan of, essentially?
um you know, I'm a fan of Crawford.
Oh yeah,
I would say I really watch the sport as a fan though. You know, I'll do it for more like analysis. I really like what Crawford does. But yeah, I like, in my opinion, I think Crawford's one of the best fighters because I think I like how he switches and he can fight, bring the pressure, come forward, bang, but he can also box. Like, he's such a complete fighter, and I think that's what makes him great.
yeah, bang on. Like you said, he can do pretty much everything. He can fight going forward and backwards, and he can switch it. So that's like a complete fighter essentially. And his ring IQ is up there. It's very very top level fighter.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he's one of my favorites as well. So I could talk about Crawford all day. So it's good to hear that you appreciate his style as well. In terms of the actual tournament itself, Joey, I've seen a lot of super lightweight fighters already been announced, and obviously they're announcing more and more every other day, pretty much. There's a lot of talent out there. I've spoken to a few of them already, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, they're in the super lightweight category as well. So I'm getting a liking for all of you boys. So I'm like, I don't know who to root
Yeah.
for, but you all seem like
Yeah.
level-headed, good guys who are just trying to make a name for yourselves, and that's what it's about. Boxing is a sport for the the everyman who wants to put in that effort, that hard work, and get somewhere with it. So hats off to all of you, and I wish you all of you the best of luck. But have you been looking at any of these names and sort of doing a bit of research at all? Have you started to look at people and think, okay, maybe I could fight this guy, I might end up fighting this guy, or are you just gonna just take it as it comes?
You know, my coach and team, they've been looking at guys and really doing research on them. But for me right now, I'm ready and willing to fight anybody there. I'm like really confident in myself, and like I'm coming here to win this whole thing. I'm like, I entered this tournament for a reason, to show the world like what I'm capable of, and really I'm just waiting for them to give me an opponent and to see who's in front of me, and then I'll start analyzing and studying and preparing for that opponent in particular. But I think there's no point in me really looking at the roster and like analyzing everyone who like heck like half the people there is a chance no like most of these people I won't even end up fighting, you know? Like there's a chance I could fight any one of these guys, but uh, I'm not really gonna do much research until I get an opponent in front of me and I see the brackets and then see who it is I could potentially fight in the future, you know?
Yeah.
Right now I'm just doing my thing, training hard, and just staying focused with training.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of I think we've already sort of touched on, the weight class you're in at 140, and there's a lot of good names going in there into the tournament. What is it about sort of this tournament, for example? I mean, it's going to be seen all around the world on a massive platform in Riyadh right now. Like we said, the boxing world is essentially focusing all the big fights in Riyadh, and in Turkey, Al Sheikh is sort of making all the big fights happen. What is your sort of outlook on where this tournament can take you? Obviously, it's a very unique and new concept where it's focusing on the young up and comers, prospects with a certain amount of fights, to try and give you guys a platform. What is the end game for you? Of course, I can see you're confident. You want to be the winner. Just the fact that you put the champion before your name there when you've entered the chat, so you're confident and you want to obviously win. But what is the goal for you in your career, Joey? Essentially, what are you looking to use this platform to sort of catapult yourself towards?
Well, I see this as just a big opportunity, which will open the doors to like bigger fights. I think this will. Well, honestly, we don't really know where boxing's going. I know Turkey is doing some really good stuff, trying to make a league and all that. So I don't really know where boxing is going. But as of now, like I I see this tournament as an opportunity for me to really punch myself in the rankings, put myself in the position to get these bigger title fights, and to really just take over the division.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
mm,
I see this like tournament um, has the potential to catapult me to the next level of like a real prize fighter.
mm. Absolutely, and I think that is what essentially what it's for. It's just sort of build the stars of the next 3-4 years, so that every
Yeah,
division has a cycle where the top guys have 4 or 5 years at the top, and then the next guys come through, and it keeps everything moving along nicely. Right now at 140, Teofimo Lopez is the Ring Magazine champion. He's considered the man, but he won't be there, for a long time. Eventually, he's going to move up. So same with all the other champions, whether they're WBC, IBF, whatever they are. There's always going to be opportunities for multiple guys to come through in one go. So hopefully, this tournament, whether you win, lose, or draw, whatever happens moving forward, hopefully it gives you a chance to really push on and make a name for yourself. I think, of course,
yeah,
as a fighter, for you, the aim has to be to win and to be the number one.
yeah.
Absolutely, you can't afford to think anything else. You have to think that way, and I completely appreciate that.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying it from a point of view of whatever happens, as long as you can come out of it with a bigger profile that can command more money for you and get you into bigger fights, that's also a positive for you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this tournament in general is going to open the doors for a lot of fighters. You know, if you just go in there and look good, I have a feeling that the fighters are going to get called back over there for like other things. So I think, like I said, changes are happening in boxing for the better, and this tournament speaks for itself. You know, we have a ton of fighters with like good fighters with good records, all willing to put their record on the line for this tournament, you know, making good fights happen. And I think if a fighter goes in there, looks good, takes the loss, it's not going to be the end of their career, you know?
100%. I think we've seen
So,
it with the other Riyadh season cards, with the actual like the world title fights and the bigger fights with the more known fighters. Essentially, some of them have taken losses, but as long as they've shown a good showing of themselves, they get called back, and that's what it's about. It's showing that a
yeah,
loss doesn't define you, and that someone's going isn't the end of their career. You can lose 5 or 6, 7 times. It doesn't matter as long as you keep coming back and giving your best.
yeah,
And the opportunities will always be there. So hopefully for yourself and the other prospects coming through as well, that'll be an opportunity for you guys to always be able to come again as well. In terms of obviously the wider public won't necessarily know much about you, Joey. What would you sort of say your style is like? How would you describe your style as a boxer?
Um, I would say I could do a little bit of everything. You know, I'm a long, tall guy, but I have like really good smart pressure, and I'm a very entertaining fighter to watch. I I keep I stay active. I'm very busy, but I'm not stupid with my pressure. I'm very smart, calculated, very good with my distance, but I I'm very consistent with my pressure, good punch output, and I I get this from people all the time, so I'm gonna say it like for myself that I'm just an entertaining fighter to watch. I have a good fun style to watch.
Okay, so you've got high output, but with educated pressure. So you're not just someone who just throws punches for the sake of it. You're clever with it, yeah.
Yeah, and I can move when needed. I can walk people into stuff too. It just depends on who's in front of me, but I have a good conditioning, very good conditioning, and that shows. I break people down, I can wear them out, and whether it's from boxing, keeping them at bay, working the jab, or whether it's applying a pressure, just depending on who it is that's in front of me, and what they do, and what their strengths are and their weaknesses are.
Amazing. So you're quite adaptable as well, then. So that's good to know. So you've got that sort of intelligence as well, which is great to hear because you never know what's going to happen in the ring, do you? At the end of the day, it's two guys throwing punches. You can get hit somewhere, and that can affect your balance, and then you take 2 or 3 rounds to recover. It happens to the best fighters in the world, so it's going to happen to prospects as well. So it's good to know that you've got that mentality where you can fight different styles. That's amazing. Joey, last question before we wrap up. What do you want to say to the boxing world to sort of sell yourself as someone they need to tune in to watch in this tournament?
What do I want to say? Just I wouldn't even say don't count me out. I'd say I'm the one you're gonna want to watch from the start. I'm the one that you're gonna, one, because my fights are entertaining, and two, because I'm gonna win this whole thing. So watch me. You're gonna, if you keep, you'll be a day one if you watch my first fight and you just see me climb up from there. You'll be a day one. You know. So
Okay.
just watch.
Yeah.
I'm a very entertaining fighter to watch, and yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that.
No, that's fine. I'll be honest, Joey. I'm buying into the hype just talking to you. You're very confident, and I like the sound of your style. So I'll definitely be tuning in. I'm a fan, of course. I'll be tuning in.
Uh-huh.
So I'm very interested to see you in action now. And Joey, I just want to say a massive thank you for giving me a bit of your time today. I know you're busy. You've got a lot going on, and I'm sure preparations are going on with potential fight a month away or so. So yeah, best of luck with everything in Riyadh, and hopefully we'll be able to catch up with you in the next 2 or 3 months to see how everything goes after that as well. Then, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, awesome. And thank you for having me.
No
I
worries. You're
appreciate it.
welcome. You're welcome, bro. Thank you very much, Joey. Take care. Yeah. Thank you, bro.